This is part 2 of electricity billing. Here, it's a specific public purpose that may be religious institute, for example, temple, masjid, church, etc., and educational institute, including their hostels, hospital, dispensaries, preliminary health centers owned by governments and local bodies, and charitable institutes, electrical, non-commercial sport organization. In terms of educational institution, does not include vocational training and coaching centers comes under this thing. LT industrial supply. LT industrial supply means previously I told this category relate to the supply of power for industrial purpose with a contract demand below 22 kilovolt. If below 22 kilovolt means that it comes under LT supply, LT billing, HT and LT supply mechanism. This category relates to the supply of power for industrial production with a contract demand and 22 kilovolt ampere and above both below 1 kilovolt. In this range, LT supply range of this thing is LT is 22 kVA. This one is below 22 kilovolt. And above both below the demand of 110 kilovolt and above both below 2500 kVA. Their power is sustainably utilized as motive force for industrial production. Then heavy industries. This category relates to the supply of power to the industry with a contract demand of 2500 kVA and above, where the power is substantially used as a motive force in heavy industries and usually power intensive industries. See, this category relates to the supply of power to the industries where sustainable utilized raw material involving electrochemical or electrometallurgical process. Electrochemical and electromechanical process with a contract demand of 2000 kVA. This is known as power intensive industries. Then temporary supply. This category related to meet temporary needs. It is used to meet temporary needs on special occasions, including marriage and other ceremonial functions, etc. In this category related to the supply of power industries and the generation station, including their essential auxiliaries. Auxiliaries means auxiliary parts and survival requirement. Failure of the generation capacity, such emergency shall be limited to 100% of the rated capacity of the largest unit in captive power generation station. Consumers under special agreement. The license may be having regard to the nature of supply and purpose for which supply is required. For example, fixed special tariff and condition. Some condition agreement, special agreement will be there. For example, fixed supply of the consumer not covered by the classification code. For such purpose, license may enter the special agreement with the approval of the commission with the suitable modification in the standard agreement form. The tariff in such cases shall be separately approved by the commission. In this case, okay. See, we will see the flowchart. And this is type of electricity consumer. First point is for domestic, third is public lighting, fourth is railway traction, fifth is irrigation, pumping and agriculture, public water works and pumping installation. Then specified public purposes, LT industry supply, LTHT industrial supply, then large industries, heavy industries, power intensive industries, temporary supply, industry swing, consumers and special agreements, etc. Okay, now we will see electricity billing format. According to consumer, we will see electricity billing format. In billing format, various electric terms are used. First one is tariff or category. Tariff and category determine the rate structure applicable to the bill. What is it? Rate structure. For example, tariff code starts with LT. LT means low tension 230 volt single phase or 400 volt 3 phase, or HT means high tension 11 kV or above. Second one is types of supply and connected load. Connected means or sanction means it is sanctioned by electricity authority of our local state and anything. Load is a total pool of supply. This is given to the meter. This is calculated in kilowatt. Okay. This is permissible total peak kilowatt given to the meter based on the appliances connected to the meter. Then the third one is unit consumed. Unit consumed in this number of kilowatt hour. It is a unit of our energy meter, because for our basis what we are using consumed in a month. 1 kilowatt hour is equivalent to the keeping a 100 watt bulb for on 10 hours. This line is important. If we will glow 100 bulb for 10 hours, then we will get 1 kilowatt hour. Okay, or 1000 watt hour. This is the total monthly consumption by all the appliances that are connected to the meter. This is the value that need to come down in order to reduce the electricity bill. If we have to work on reduce electricity bill, we have to work on this thing. Okay. Tariff structure. What is tariff structure? It is very important to know the tariff structure of our bill is the best indicator of how bill can be reduced, because if we will know the tariff structure, then we will know how we can reduce the bill. Fuel adjustment charge. This is the additional cost of the power incurred due to the fuel price increment during the year. Uh, in day by day, our fuel prices increase. How fuel prices means we may be used diesel power plant, we may use coal power plant, that is power plant, same thing, that is fuel adjustment charges. Electricity duty or taxes. Every state is having electricity or duty act. It may be different from Orissa, different from AP, different from MP, and other thing. Like wherein the applicable taxes for different tariff structure is defined. Contract demand. Contract demand in KVA is nothing but the maximum demand which is used during the billing period. Maximum demand we can use means I'm use maximum demand of 5 9 like that, then we can use that only maximum demand. After that it is not allowed. Sanction load in kilowatt. See, contract demand in kVA. Okay, but sanction load in kilowatt. Okay, you understood. Is the maximum amount of wattage. Bill demand is the maximum demand observed in the month of billing period. Another thing, see, I will see one problem. Billing charges. Billing charge. What is a billing charge? Is the charge for kilowatt hour. Billing charge is the charge for kilowatt hour. It not kilowatt or kVA. Amount that a transmission owner receive the use of the system to export energy. Okay, is the thing billing energy. Third one is our electricity billing system. The different electricity billing system are classified: kilowatt hour billing, kVA billing, and kVAH billing. There are three types. Kilowatt hour billing is what? A kilowatt hour, other known as kWh, is a way to measure how much energy you are using. KWH billing means it is a measure how much energy you are using. That's the line. KWH billing is active charges only. Kilowatt hour means active charges means देखो kilowatt is the unit of our active power, so it is multiplied with hour, so it is active charges only. Kilowatt hour is equal to the amount of energy you would use by keeping 1000 watt appliances running for 1 hour. Means it is based on purely active power like that. For instance, if you turn a 100 watt bulb, it would take 10 hours to use 1 kilowatt hour of energy. A 2000 watt appliances on the other hand would take half an hour. It all come to dividing the number of watts in an appliances into 1000. Okay, that's the thing we're using in kilowatt hour billing. How we will calculate kilowatt hour? For example, the appliances was refrigerator. Number of watts is 1000 watt. Appliances name is refrigerator. Number of watts is 100 watt. How much hour we are using? 24 hour. So 100 watt into 24 hour. How we'll get 2400 watt hour per day? We'll get. Okay, it is whatever. If we will convert it to kilowatt hour, we have to do by 1000. So we will get by 1000. So 2.4 kilowatt hour per day. So for 30 days in month, we will get 72 kilowatt hour per month. Okay. Okay. Now we assume, for example, 1 kilowatt hour charges 7 rupees. Therefore, total 1 kilowatt hour charges क्या है? For example, I am taking this 7 rupees. So therefore, total charges क्या आएगा? 72 into 7, 504 rupees. So I am getting 504 rupees in kilowatt hour billing. In this system, we can calculate kilowatt hour billing. Are you clear? How we will calculate kilowatt hour billing? Previously, consumer bill on active charges consumed measured in kilowatt hour with a fixed charges. Kilowatt hour consumption when multiplied with the applicable tariff for the consumer will give the energy charges payable by the consumer. What is the scenario in case of kilowatt billing? Your scenarios. Utility supply both active and reactive power. In kilowatt hour tariff, active power is consumed in billing, whereas reactive power is supplied by the remain on bill. Here, in kilowatt hour tariff, active power consumption is only billed. Okay. Whereas reactive power supply supplied by the utility remain on bill. Okay, understood? In kilowatt hour only active power जो है that one is bill but reactive power is on bill. The power factor incentives are normally available in this tariff regime. Power factor incentives are normally available in the tariff and this encourages consumer to improve power factor and reduce their reactive power consumption. Okay. In an ideal case, when power factor is maintained close to unity, the power factor incentive highest and reactive power consumption is negligible. Okay. In such cases, entire reactive power requirement of the load is created by the consumer himself by capacitor or other means such as active power compensation. Okay. In kilowatt billing, kilowatt hour billing, but only active power is considered. Active power is employees are on bill, and so that's why using we will not supply and any KVH, and we have to put that power factor near to 1. So such cases entire reactive power requirement of the load created by the consumer by himself by capacitor or other means such as active power compensation, etc. Okay. Third point, if load power factor of the consumer purposes is poor and it is not improved by the consumer, the utility has to create the reactive power need of the load, which required utility compensation to strengthen its reactive power installation. Okay. This utility in India charges power factor penalty for PF value below 0.9. Whenever the PF incentives are higher, either negligible or non-existence of the consumer target for achieving somehow 0.9 power factor instead of ideal value of unity, this leaves a very large chunk of reactive power needs of the consumer to be taken care by utility company. That's the thing. Fourth point, the power factor incentive is based on average monthly value, which is easier to achieve through a mix or fixed and auto compensation through enabling consumer to get maximum incentives. In this case, we can get maximum incentives. Some utilities overlook leading power factor values while computing average power factor. Here, if we are average one means for whole month, if we are calculating power factor values, some point of time we can get leading power factor. This tempt consumer to use capacitor indiscriminately for availing power factor incentive, but it does more harm than good to the installation, both utilities and consumers. The low power factor penalties to the consumer does not adequate compensation the utilities for unaccounted consumption of reactive energy by the consumer. Then we will read about KVH billing. What is KVH billing? Energy, electrical energy has two components, active energy and reactive energy. Active energy is kilowatt hour billing and reactive energy is kVAH. Vector sum of these two is called apparent energy and it is measured in kVAH. Vector sum of real and reactive. It is kVH. Okay. In kVH means apparent billing, base billing, fixed demand charges are levied apparent power kVH and energy charges are levied apparent charges kVH. Presently, energy charges are levied based on apparently energy. Now we are using kVH billing, which eliminates requirement of charging active and reactive energy separately. Both active and reactive energies are consumed simultaneously. Reactive energy occupied the capacity of electric network, reduce the useful capacity of the system for generation and distribution, and hence its consumption also need to be billed. KWH based billing associated with power factor incentives or penalty mechanism and separate mechanism for the same with no more required. Instead of billing two energies separately, billing of KVH energy is preferred as commercial inducement. That's the thing. Scenario in KVH billing, but utility prefer KVH billing wherein consumer need to maintain power factor close to unity for optimum KVH consumption. This encourages consumer to generate their own reactive power. Okay. Like if we are use more reactive power, then our KVH system is well maintained. If capacity power is more, then it will maintain inductive power in terms. Then KVA power is improved and we will be less. The other thing, reactive power consumption charges are built in the KVS tariff regime. Third one is power factor incentives is built in the tariff structure, has no separate PF incentive is given. Utility maintain KVH tariff cheaper than KWS tariff. Obviously, KVH tariff is cheaper than because here we can use our reactive power. Reactive power is mixing with real power, then it is a vector sum and we can get that calculation. The computation of KVH is based on RMS current and thus harmonic affect the KVH consumption here. The main problem is harmonics, but previously harmonic is not a problem. The distortion power factor increases with increase of harmonic. Here distortion power factor increases with increase in harmonic content, which reduce the true power factor and increase KVH consumption. That's the thing. And sixth point is some utility have declared migration to KVH wheeling, but actually practice they continue to treat leading power factor as unity, and the billing remain the same for kilowatt hour regime if the average power factor is maintained unity or any leading power factor. Some utility means some boards they are using generally this thing. To optimize the billing, consumer need to have the relook at their respective power installation. There has to be less reliance on fixed compensation. Automatic compensation, both LT and HT, can be provided optimization. What advantages we can give to consumer if we are using KVS billing? KVS billing will ensure that consumer who will utilize power efficiently will paying less. That's the thing. Efficiently will paying less. Energy charges are compared to others who are not using the power efficient. The KVH billing methodology will more simpler to understand number of parameters in terms of power factor, KVH, lead or league, etc. will be advantages of utility. यूटिलिटी में क्या एडवांटेजेस है गुड सिस्टम स्टेबिलिटी stability are good systems. Improved power quality is improved voltage profile and reduce capital expenditures. That's the thing. If we are using KVH, complete recovery cost of active and reactive power. Okay, active and reactive power. And third point is a zero or minimal draw of reactive power by consumer. Reactive power by the consumer. Third one is a reduction in power purchase cost. That's the thing. Thus, considering the large benefits of consumer as well as the utility, KVH billing is more beneficial than kilowatt billing. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing. If we will case study of some so this graph for time versus kilowatt hour and kVh. This one is kilowatt hour and this is kVh. We are using billing system use where you were using. The above graph shows unit compensation of HT consumer for 1 day. It can be seen that after 24 hours, kilowatt hour recorded 567 unit and kVh recorded 857 unit. Though there is a difference of 281 unit, the customer average rate is 15 per unit. Okay, the customer average rate is 15 considering all bill component. So per day increase of the consumer is just 15 into 281, so 4215, which amount is monthly increased to 1,26,450 and yearly it is increased to 15,1700 for 400. That's the thing. They clearly indicate the purpose of customers who don't take care of the reactive power will have to pay high amount after introduction of KVH billing, because for those customers who does not take care of their reactive power, if KVH billing is good, but if anyone is not take care of their reactive power, they have to pay more. If anyone is having take care of their reactive power, they have to pay less. Step by step, regarding to the consumer. Study of existing electric bills, get energy profile done, get the reactive power supply, design of new reactive compensation, checking for harmonics, install modify reactive compensation system, install energy monitoring system and monitoring KVS daily. That I think. Second point is effect of power factor on load current and transformer capacity. The table 1 will show effect of power factor on load current and transformer capacity. Now we'll see that table 1. Improve power factor unity. Benefits of KVH billing क्या है? Complete recovery of cost of utility for active and reactive power. Since reactive power is also useful as integral part of power supply by the distribution license, charge for supplying the same is also recovered from the KVH tariff. Hmm? Zero or minimal role of reactive power from consumer by use of capacitor bank. Under KVH billing, it would automatically become the responsibility of the consumer to generate reactive power locally through the installation of capacitor bank. We can reduction of purchase cost under KVH billing. The distribution license does not have to buy an additional power in order to compensate the reactive power which goes unaccounted at the present. um, Improvement in system voltage as a decrease in the reactive power cause voltage fall while increasing the reactive power cause voltage to rise. The generation of reactive power using capacitor bank by the consumer would help in the inflation of voltage supply too. If consumer improve that huge capacitor bank, their voltage improvement will be there. Comparison between KWH and KVH billing, that I think for example, I'm using top detail. Billing parameter क्या है? KWH billing and billing parameter is kilowatt hour. In KVH billing, the billing parameter is KVH. Here in billing parameter, this is KWH. This is KWH. This is KVH. Types of tariff. It is two-part tariff. It is also two-part tariff. Meter standard is IAS 687. It is also IAS 687. Billing format क्या है? ये demand charge plus energy charge for KWH plus ED plus FSC. Here also demand charge plus energy charge for KVH. Here KWH, here KVH plus ED plus FSC. Power factor monitoring क्या है? Required for power factor incentives or penalty. Not required as power factor is in bold. In bold intensive and penalty mechanism. Here reactive power monitored by power factor, consumer drain and injecting more reactive power will have to pay extra and vice versa. Basically charge on active power only. You charge for both active and reactive power, which is more of a corporate commercial inducement. KVRS billing, KVRS meaning kilovolt ampere reactive hour, unit of reactive energy consumption, which is used in industry. The basic principle is if the power factor is low, means reactive power consumption is high. In such a case, charges will be extra. Cooling system mostly this is due to transformer, motor, relay, etc. In conclusion, it is imperative to have reactive power in the electricity distribution system, but must be reduced to maintain the efficiency of electricity distribution infrastructure. The power consumed remain unaccounted in the kilowatt-based tariff regime if the power factor penalty does not adequately compensate the utility of unaccounted reactive energy. Second point, varies under the kilowatt hour. Based on the tariff regime, the reactive power is compensated and consumed are encouraged to maintain their power factor. Considering the above, many of the states in India have already migrated to KVH-based tariff, with a certain state adopting KVH-based tariff even for consumer categories and other ST as well. Such migration has resulted in the benefit to the consumer as well as utility as the billing dispute of abnormality due to power factor and penalties or incentives there are of eliminated. Thus, considering the larger benefit of the consumer as well as the utility, it is important that the existing billing regime can be migrated to KVS based billing. The other thing, here some references are there. Thank you. The other thing.